Nebraska football is 100 years old. In its glorious past, we've witnessed legendary coaches, national championships, and Heisman Trophy winners. It's a tradition of winning that only continues through the generations. Nebraska football is also unstoppable tailbacks, elusive quarterbacks. The Cornhuskers are uncompromising, and they are out to commemorate their centennial in style with a third national championship. Colorado shares the same anniversary, but not the same supreme history. Yes, Byron Whizzer White once led them to a perfect season, but now they are pointing at #1 for the first time ever at Colorado. The Buffaloes have been through an emotional season. They are focused and explosive, and they have leaped into the national spotlight with an undefeated season. Today, a berth in the Orange Bowl is on the line. It's the Big 8 Battle of the Year. Nebraska and Colorado coming up next. On a CFA Saturday, we bring you 25 miles due northwest of Denver to Boulder. Set against the Rocky Mountain Range, this rugged landscape is home to the University of Colorado. It's where the deer and Colorado buffaloes roam. It truly is a Rocky Mountain high, over a mile above sea level. And today there is something special in this rarefied air. It's a football showdown. Third-ranked Nebraska about to collide with second-ranked Colorado. And we welcome you live to the color of college football. The fans dressed in black and gold for Colorado and red for Nebraska. But at stake today is 100% pure orange. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jim Nance, and welcome to Folsom Field. You know, quite simply, there has never been a bigger football game in Colorado's 100-year history than this game today. You see, the Buffaloes and Huskers are tied for the lead in the Big 8. They each are 8-0 on the season, ranked second and third in the country. The winner today will go to the Orange Bowl and probably play Notre Dame for the national championship. You know, here at Colorado, they refer to this as the red letter game. Everywhere you go, constant reminders that neighboring Nebraska is their biggest rival. However, in recent years, it's been a one-sided rivalry. Nebraska has won 20 of the last 21 years. But Pat Hayden, there are over 50,000 fans today who believe that that one-sided domination is about to end.
Well, Jim, Nebraska has dominated this series over the years because of a crushing defense and an overwhelming offense. But this year, these two teams are remarkably similar. They win by running the football. Now, if Colorado is going to break that domination today, it's going to start with their quarterback, Darian Hagan. He has had a sensational year running the option. As a matter of fact, he has a very unique knack of waiting to the very last moment before he pitches the plays, and he can come up with some spectacular results. Now, his counterpart at Nebraska is quarterback Jerry Godowski, who surprised an awful lot of people, including himself, by accounting for over 1,500 yards and 21 touchdowns. Comes from a small town, Fremont, Nebraska. Grew up watching Cornhusker football and always dreamed about playing in a game like this.
I'm excited. You know, I think this is why players come to Nebraska, because they know they're going to play in games like this. You know, I've been on the field suited up for games like this, but this is really my first opportunity to be in the thick of things. So I'm really excited about it.
So, John Dockery, I really believe this is a game of three quarterbacks. Two will run onto Folsom Field in just a couple of moments. One won't, but he'll be in the hearts and minds of his Colorado teammates.
Pat, as fans from around the state file into Folsom Field, their thoughts are on a young quarterback who died before his time. Sal Inessi was to lead this team, but last spring he was diagnosed with inoperable stomach cancer. 6 weeks ago he died. His locker is now sealed shut, a shrine to the courage and inspiration of a young man who will not soon be forgotten.
We have one goal this season, that's to win the Big 8 for Sal and win the Orange Bowl for Sal. And I think that's in everybody's minds when we go out there to play, and we know how he would play. That's why we go out there and play as a team, as one unit, not as individuals.
One of the last things Sal Inessi did on the day he died was write a letter to his teammates. It goes like this: "Don't be saddened that you no longer see me in the flesh, because I will always be with you in spirit. Hold me dear to your hearts, as you know I do all of you. I love you all. Go get them and bring home the Orange Bowl." There's a sense of destiny here in Colorado, and Greg Gumbel, as the team sits in his locker room minutes before kickoff, one feels a sense of mission. a mission to beat Nebraska, to win the Big 8 title, to go to the Orange Bowl and win a national championship. And that would be their gift to their beloved friend and teammate, Sal Inessi.
All right, Colorado against third-ranked Nebraska. And as you can imagine, there has never been a harder ticket to get in Boulder than this week. But tickets were not the only item in short supply. You go to any supermarket's produce stand and find that oranges were difficult to find. They ran out late yesterday afternoon. Wonder if there's a chance there might be a few stocked in the stands today. We will see. Let's get an update on the latest from the Colorado side with Pat Hayden. Pat?
Jim, two pieces of information. Bill McCartney just addressed his team. He said there's one way to beat this Nebraska team today. Attack on offense, attack on defense, attack for 4 quarters. And Eric Bieniemy, the start tailback who broke his leg 3 weeks ago, is available to play today. He will not start, but is available. And that's what's happening on the Colorado sideline. For what's going on the Nebraska sideline, let's go over to John Dockery.
Pat, over here, the Nebraska team is concerned about the free safety position. The senior starter, Marvin Sanders, is in uniform, has a separated shoulder, would play in an emergency. So that puts the burden on the freshman free safety, Tyrone Bird. His problem is this: does he come up and support on the run with Darian Hagan and Flanagan, or does he lay back and worry about the play-action pass? What happens at the free safety position, Jim Nance, will determine what happens in this game today.
That will be a key. All right, Doc. The teams are about to emerge. And Colorado comes out led by Ralphie. Four-year-old and 1,200-pound Ralphie III leading the way for the Colorado Buffaloes. Coming in at 8-0 on the season, and no one has even been within 17 points of Colorado this year. They will come right at you, the Buffaloes. Now Tom Osborne walking out in front of his team that's also 8-0 and ranked number 3 in the country. It's Nebraska and Colorado about to take dead aim at Miami and the Orange Bowl, and it's coming up next.
CBS Sports presents college football. Live from Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado. It's the third-ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers versus the second-ranked Colorado Buffaloes. Today's CFA game is sponsored by Toyota's quality line of cars and trucks. Toyota, I love what you do for me. Allstate, for home, auto, and life insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. And by Coors, brewery fresh, pure, and natural. It's a true American original.
In the Rockies, they've waited 100 years for this one at Colorado. And the weather today, sweater weather. 65 degrees, cloudy skies, just fine for this football showdown. Nebraska has won the toss and elected to defer. So the Cornhuskers' Chris Drennan will kick. Colorado leads the country in kick returns. They won't have a shot at this one. It bounces through the end zone, a touchback, and the Buffaloes will start it at their own 20-yard line, led by Darian Hagan, the sophomore quarterback who has rushed 5 times this year for over 100 yards. Eric Kissick, a blocking fullback, and the speedster J.J. Flanagan. On a wing, it's Mike Pritchard. And a wide receiver, Jeff Campbell, who in 1986 as a walk-on freshman ran a reverse 39 yards for a touchdown against Nebraska, and a game that some say turned this program around. Out of the eye, flag is down. Looked like Nebraska jumped. Hagan now will tuck it under, and he's to the 34-yard line. Tackled by Tahan Lewis, a 14-yard pickup by Hagan.
What a heads-up play, because he knew he had a free down. He knew there was a penalty flag thrown against Nebraska for being offsides. The Nebraska defensive team relaxed, and he made the most of it.
Offside, and the defense refused.
So the football is at the 34-yard line. First down for Colorado. This is the 6th home game of the year for the Buffaloes. In the first 5, they have taken the football on their opening possession and driven it the length of the field for a touchdown. Pritchard comes out in motion. Nelson is the receiver. Hagan almost tripped, and the ball is batted down by Mills. Jeff Mills jumped up, knocked it down.
This is one thing about Darian Hagan. When you talk to the Nebraska coaches, he is not particularly tall. They feel if they can get their hands up, they can make plays like that. But also, while you'll see Colorado roll Hagan out on the corner of the defense where he doesn't have to contend with that too much.
2nd down and 10. Campbell at the top of your screen. Buffs lining up in the power I, and they run it with J.J. Flanagan and a gain of 2. Smothered by Jeff Mills and Mike Petco. 5'10" Mike Murray is the nose tackle for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Ray Valido and Kent Wells on the defensive line. Linebackers, Petco in on that last tackle, and Pat Tyrants. Also Jeff Mills, who batted down that pass a moment ago, and Mike Kroll, who's a junior out of Sudbury, Massachusetts. 3rd and 7. M.J. Nelson to the left, Pritchard to the right.
And the audible by Hagan.
He sets Parrott, the tight end, back on the right side. Play action. Hagan throwing, and it's intercepted. Yes, it's intercepted by the Cornhuskers. Tyrone Bird, the freshman who has stepped in at free safety today, making the pickoff at the 49-yard line.
You know, John Dockery talked about the free safety position being so important for Nebraska today. And Tyrone Bird, playing the free safety position, sees the flow of the play and steps right in front of Pritchard. He read the eyes of Hagan and then had enough speed and enough burst to make the play.
For Hagan, that's only the 4th interception this year. Nebraska takes over at its 49-yard line. Carpenter, the lone setback, behind Jerry Godowski, the quarterback. Looking pass, setting up a screen. They go to Carpenter. He gets away from Salavia and cuts back to the middle. He's got room. Inside the 40, inside the 30, he's going to score. Nebraska on the first play of the day for Nebraska. 51 yards and a touchdown. They are stunned in Boulder. Greg Barrios will attempt the extra point for Nebraska. Flag is down. No, the flag is not down, and the kick is good.
Jim, this play was set up beautifully. 3 offensive linemen in front of Carpenter, and then his eyes. You see his head up the whole time. He picked up those blocks, read them beautifully, and cut back into the end zone. A terrific call on the first play of the game. You're facing an emotional team that's trying to put pressure on a guy. You come back with the screenplay. Nice first call. Field is one of the best plays in college football because teams defend the wide side. But watch the inside interior lineman, the center and 2 guards. Are going to slip out right in front of Carpenter. 3 big bodies, beautifully timed. And then it's right there, these 3 guys. And Oakland Salavia, number 99, the tackle overran the play. The good eyes by Carpenter, cuts back, picks up 2 more blocks, and he runs 4-5, even though he's a fullback. Beautifully set up and executed, Jim.
Colorado had allowed only 10 points off turnovers this year, but give up a quick 7 here. Drennan kicks again. Pritchard fields it at the goal line, hesitates, and now kneels. Touchback Bring it out to the 20. And let's go down with a report to John Dockery.
Jim, along the Colorado sidelines is a sense of real shock. Guys are very quiet sitting on the bench, but even so, there wasn't a sense of panic. They all stood before the kickoff with their helmets in the air, something they do as a tradition to support the kickoff return team. So they are shocked, but they're certainly not in any kind of panic or sense of emergency. Back to you, Jim.
And we saw Eric Bieniemy on the sidelines. He's anxious to play. It's only the third time this year Colorado has trailed in a game. Another flag is down. I believe Nebraska jumped again. And a gain of 3. It was Hemingway on the carry. Jay Lewinberg is the center for Colorado, arguably the best offensive line in the country. Joe Garton at guard along with Darren Muhlenberg. And the tackles are Bill Coleman and Mark Vanderpool. John Perrick, the tight end. I mentioned Vanderpool, number 72. He's 6'8", 300 pounds, manning that right side.
Offside on the defense. It'll be 1st and 5.
Now listen to John Dockery's report just a moment ago, Jim. I think the important thing for Darian Hagan now is to be patient. They haven't been behind much this year, but you can't try to get it all back. Remember, this has been a team of big plays, but today they're going to have to be patient. 1st and 5.
Hemingway is the fullback now, and Flanagan, the tailback, gets the carry, but only a yard. Tackled by Joe Sims, who just came in the game for Valado. In the defensive backfield for Nebraska, Bruce Pickens at one corner, and Tyrone Leggett. The safeties, Reggie Cooper and Tyrone Bird. Has already made the interception that set up the first touchdown.
And Jim, this defense has more speed than Tom Osborne has ever had on defense. And I think it was the Orange Bowl loss last year to Miami that made them realize if they were going to win a national championship, they needed more speed.
We'll call it no gain for Flanagan. 2nd and 5 up the middle with Hemingway. And he's about a yard short at the 29-yard line. Again, Sims on the tackle.
We said at the top of the show, both of these offenses are very similar. You're going to see virtually the same kind of plays. You're going to see a wing back. You'll see power I plays, and then you'll also see option plays. Really, the Colorado team and Bill McCarty has really patterned their offense after the Nebraska team and the success that they've had in the Tom Osborne era.
3rd and less than a yard. They have to get to the 30-yard line for the first down. Kissick's back in at fullback. Colorado is a perfect 17 for 17 this year on 3rd and 1. They have never failed. And that streak continues as Flanagan dives over the 30-yard line to the 32, tackled by Sims and Caliendo.
And Jim, that's no accident. 18 times now in short yardage, 18 times they converted, because it's an attitude around Colorado. They practice it. They're in short yardage situations a lot because of the style of their offense, but they spend a lot of time talking about it, thinking about it, and practicing it.
Well, you see number 2, J.J. Flanagan, in the huddle for Bill McCartney's team. Flanagan has stepped in for Bieniemy the last 2 weeks and has rushed for over 100 yards. 1st and 10. Look out. Hagan is knocked down by Kenny Walker. And what a story Kenny Walker is for this Nebraska team.
But what he has is tremendous speed. In the passing situations, they bring Kenny Walker in, number 57, who comes in unblocked. And the remarkable story, Jim, as you just started, here is a young man who is deaf. And he has overcome incredible obstacles to be a big part of this defense. He's a terrific lip reader. He reads the linebackers' lips as they call the defense. And if there's an audible or an adjustment on defense, one of the outside linebackers will touch his back.
Lost his hearing at the age of 2 after a high fever. 2nd and 19, the run, Flanagan. And again, it's Walker on the tackle. Flanagan picks up about 7 to the 30-yard line.
Well, the story of this game, this early in the game, has been the Nebraska defense. They came up with the interception. They're getting the Colorado offense out of rhythm. This is the 2nd, 3rd, and long situation they've been in. Colorado is a team that needs to be in 3rd and 2 situations to win, not 3rd and 12.
Campbell to the left, Pritchard to the right. No flag at the line. Hagan's going long. Campbell's the man down there. Incomplete at the 25-yard line. Tahan Lewis got a hand on it. They went to their big play man, Jeff Campbell.
Well, Tahan Lewis, you're right, number 5, did a great job of adjusting, as Campbell did. Oftentimes, it's very difficult for the defensive back to make this kind of adjustment without interference, but Lewis did a sensational job of knocking the ball away from Campbell.
You're looking at Tom Ruin, the nation's leading punter. A junior from Littleton, Colorado, averaging over 46 yards a punt. Tyrone Hughes on the return for Nebraska. He makes the fair catch. Signal at the 28-yard line. It's a 43-yard punt for Ruin. But back comes Nebraska, touching the football now for the second time. Just joined us. Nebraska scored on its first play. 51-yard touchdown pass. Godowski, Carpenter did not have a chance to meet the Cornhuskers before. Let's meet him now. Godowski at quarterback. Carpenter, the fullback, who scored the touchdown. Ken Clark at tailback. On a wing, Richard Bell. And the split end for Nebraska is Morgan Gregory. Football is at the 28-yard line. Second snap of the day for Nebraska. They run it with Clark. He's past the 30 to the 31-yard line. Tackled by Joel Steed. Joel Steed helps lead the way on that defensive front for Colorado. Youngest starter on defense, by the way, a sophomore. Arthur Walker and Oakland Salavia are the defensive tackles. What a linebacking core they have. Terry Johnson and Michael Jones. They're in on a lot of tackles. And on the outside, they can come up with big plays. Alfred Williams and Canavis McGee.
Best front 7 I have seen this year, Jim.
2nd and 6 for Nebraska. Play action, getting the pass away, intended for Nate Turner. Nate Turner had come in at a wingback position. Now, we were talking about that powerful Colorado offensive line. Nebraska's got a good one as well. Jake Young, an All-America last year. Jim Wanek and Bill Bobora at guard. And the tackles, Tom Punt and Doug Glazier. The tight end is Monty Kratzenstein.
And they'll use a lot of 2 tight end formations as well, as they do right now.
Chris Garrett is the extra tight end. Out of the eye. Fumbled on the exchange. Godowski falls on it. And Nebraska will face 4th down and punt.
You know, it's interesting because Nebraska is kind of unique on their exchanges between center and quarterback. The center actually snaps the ball before the snap count, and sometimes you can have bad exchanges like that. Here it is. Have another look at it. It's kind of unusual. For years, people have thought the Nebraska centers are incredibly quick, but actually they snap the ball before the quarterback makes the snap count.
Mike Stiggy is the freshman punter for Nebraska. Jeff Campbell returns for Colorado. Fair catch call by Campbell at the 30-yard line. 8 minutes, 33 seconds left in the first quarter, and Nebraska leading it 7-0. As we go back to John Dockery.
You know, Jim, obviously the touchdown scored by Nebraska was an important one, but the play that set it up, the interception by Tyrone Bird, the freshman playing free safety, was even more important because before he went out in the field, his eyes were the size of silver dollars. That play has given him some confidence, and now they're down to the size of a 50-cent piece. Back to you.
It's deflation.
Running the option on first down. Hagan has it. He has room. He's got one man to beat. Now he pitches to Flanagan, and he may take it all the way. Flanagan's in for the touchdown. Their spiritual leader and honorary captain. 70 yards, J.J. Flanagan straddled the sidelines but did not step out. Culbertson with the extra point, and it's tied at 7.
Jim, remember at the top of the show, we said what made Hagan so dangerous is that he pitches the ball at unusual times. Most quarterbacks will not pitch the ball 40 yards downfield, but that's what makes Hagan so difficult to defend. He picks up a block by Campbell, and then after a 40-yard gain, he pitches the ball off to Flanagan, and you just cannot defend that. This has been a team of big plays all season long. And the interesting thing here, Jim, is the way they've been able to respond. Not behind much, but they come right back with one more big play. And that was pretty well defensed by Osborne. It was just tremendous athletic ability by Hagan and Flanagan.
Wow, 7-7. And the Oranges have come out already.
Yep. They weren't supposed to have let those oranges in. Didn't you talk about that a little bit earlier?
They were.
The full oranges, yeah.
They were checking the people at entry, but they're going to get in anyway.
You were at the local market last night trying to pick up a couple of oranges,
right,
weren't you?
J.J. Flanagan. Wow. This game means so much to him because of a game last year. Nebraska won last year 7-0 against Colorado. And J.J. Flanagan had a potential tying touchdown run. He fumbled the football out in the open. He's lived with that for a year. And he's looked forward to coming back and avenging that costly turnover. He has already. The game now tied at 7. Ken Culbertson kicks. Leotis Flowers and Richard Bell return for the Cornhuskers. Big kick by Culbertson. Flies through the end zone, and Nebraska brings it out to the 20. Pat, one thing about the Cornhuskers, they are 8-0, but they have played in obscurity, and they have not played a top 25 team this year. They're an unknown factor.
Well, people, and I think that's scary if you're Colorado trying to play them. And I talked to some of the Nebraska coaches right before the field, and they had a smile on their face as they were telling me, we're pretty good. We are a very good football team. We think we're going to prove it today. We can play with anybody.
From the 20 on first down. Running right with Clark. No gain. Tackled by Alfred Williams. Michael Jones came in on the assist.
Alfred Williams has grown as a player at Colorado for the last 3 years. He started as a freshman 2 years ago, a third down player, a sack specialist. Last year he played the run. This year he's doing them both. He's rushing the passer, he has 8.5 sacks, and then he can play over tight end and stuff the run. He has had an All-America type of year.
And he is joined on the outside by Canavis McGee. They both hail from Houston, as does Arthur Walker on that defensive line. 2nd and 10. Clark is going to be dropped by Williams for a loss.
If Colorado is going to slow down this offense, they are going to have great play from their outside linebackers. Right there, again, is Williams. Because Nebraska is a perimeter offense. They want to get the ball to the corner of the defense. He fights through a guy. He gets blocked, but he comes right back up. It's hard to cut him because he's so quick. He uses those hands, gets right back up to make the play. Alfred Williams has made a tremendous difference on this Colorado defense this year.
He has made the last 2 tackles. The last one was for a 5-yard loss, so it's 3rd and 15. Nate Turner comes in as a receiver. Godowski hands off inside to Carpenter, and only a gain of 2. Joel Steed on the tackle.
Well, this game is a game of high emotion and momentum. Right now, you can hear the crowd and the emotion all on the Colorado side. And Joel Steed, the nose tackle, number 93, stunted. Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator of Colorado, says to win today, our defensive front has to stunt, has to move around.
Stiggy to punt for the 2nd time. The return man, Campbell, leads the Big Eight in punt returns. Short boot coming to midfield. Campbell will run right. Gets away from the wave. He's got room. Inside the 30. Out of bounds inside of the 5. The punter pushed him out. A 47-yard punt return by Chuck Campbell.
You know, Jim, I thought there was actually a clip on the side of this by number 6. Right there, I thought he blocked the man behind, although Campbell did a nice job of getting through the wedge. The side judge was right there, did not call it, and that was Eric Hamilton, a free safety, a backup free safety, but a great block downfield by number 26, Julian Hayward, and that's what this team does so well, play well together.
First and goal from the 4. Out of the power I, running the option and going with Flanagan on the pitch. He is hunted down by Tyrone Bird for a loss on the play.
That's 2 big plays by Tyrone Bird already. The interception, and he was one-on-one out there in the flat with J.J. Flanagan, and believe me, Flanagan's got some speed. So the concern about the free safety position for Nebraska, they have to be feeling a lot better about it.
Bird from Chandler, Arizona, a high school quarterback there. He arrived last year with a cracked leg bone and was unable to play his freshman year, so he redshirted. Has stepped in and looked good early. Second and goal from the 6. Hemingway in at fullback. Hagan will keep up right tackle. Gets to the 1-yard line. Mike Murray wrapped him up at the 1.
Darian Hagan needs to have a big game today for Colorado to win, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a big statistical day. If he can get his team the right formations, call the right audibles, decide when to pitch and when to keep it, even if he doesn't score 3 touchdowns, Colorado has an excellent chance of winning.
Pat, is going to be third and goal from the 1. We've already discussed Colorado's success in this situation.
And in short yardage and goal line, low man wins.
Running the option. Hagan will keep, and he'll go in untouched. Culbertson to attempt the extra point. He is 44 for 44 on the year and stays true.
What makes this Colorado team so hard to defend is they can hammer the ball inside with a big fullback, so you have to respect that. You respect the inside fake, but then you got speed on the outside. And again, that play was pretty well defended, and that's what makes them so hard to defend. Even when you defend them well, Hagenson still scored touchdown.
And look at Eric Bieniemy, injured and out and on the sidelines cheering him on. Those two met in Lincoln. 1 touchdown was all that was put on the board. Nebraska won at 7-0. Already 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, Pat.
We want to go back. I thought there was a clip, but when I saw it live, it looked left of the screen, number 6. Blocks the man from behind. Now, the angle is not great there, but live, I thought that was a clip by number 6, Eric Hamilton. But then Campbell does a nice job of following his blocks. He's not a speedster, but he knows how to set people up, and he did a beautiful job of it there. And then the score. Darian Hagan on the corner of the defense. This is what scares Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator of Nebraska. He said, we have to stop Hagan on the perimeter.
Hagan has now scored 12 touchdowns this year. 5 minutes, 4 seconds left in the first quarter. Culbertson about to kick to Leotis Flowers and Richard Bell.
And the key thing right now, Jim, is for Jerry Godowski and the Nebraska offense is to make sure they don't have 3 plays and punt. Because right now you're seeing a team with emotion, high emotion, and a very keyed up team in Colorado. They need to get at least a couple of first downs, take some of the emotion of the Colorado team and crowd out of the game.
This kick, not as deep by Culbertson. Flowers returns it from a yard deep in the end zone. He's got a man in front of him to block. Flowers with a big return to the 40-yard line, but a flag is down at the 30. Doug Atkins was out in front.
Well,
made the tackle on Flowers.
Jim, you've talked and you mentioned how good Colorado is on special teams. But if you think of Nebraska,
On the run back.
think of Nebraska over the years, they've had some pretty special teams play as well. I think about all those punt returns by Johnny Rogers and some big kickoff returns as well. So you hate that as a quarterback. You come out, you think you can have excellent field position where you think you can run all your offense. Then you get the clip, and now you're backed up to the 15-yard line, and your selection of plays gets limited.
With the penalty happening at the 30, and here it is, Pat.
You're clearly right in the back, right in the middle of the screen, from the back, a clear clip.
So instead of the 40, the Huskers start at the 15. Carpenter and Clark in the backfield. Out of there in motion is Bell. Running the option. Godowski gets past the 20 to the 21-yard line. John Dockery. What's up, Doc?
You know, Jim, I want you to come over here and take a look at J.J. Flanagan's wristband. We talked about how much Sal Inessi means to his team. Well, he's certainly not forgotten. A lot of guys wearing Sal's number, his name on their jerseys. J.J. Flanagan, he dedicates every play to his old friend Sal Inessi. A little extra added inspiration. Now back to you guys.
Well, J.J. Flanagan, John, was the man who was crying before last week's game as he remembered how much Sal Inessi wanted to play against Oklahoma.
Second down and 4. Clark spins for the first down for Nebraska. Tim James on the tackle.
You know, Ken Clark is an interesting guy. Last year, he got lost in the shuffle. Rushed for almost 1,500 yards because Barry Sanders had such a big year. People didn't realize how good he is. But the key to watch for Ken Clark today is how many yards he gets after he's hit the first time. He'll gain 2, 3, 4 yards after that first hit.
Against Barry Sanders last year, Clark ran for 256 yards in that game against Oklahoma State, out-rushing the Heisman Trophy winner. First and 10, Nebraska. Godowski now pitches to Clark. Clark to the 46-yard line. Flag down back at the line of scrimmage. 19-yard carry by Clark.
Boy, coming in today's games, the penalties have really hurt Colorado, but thus far in this game, it has gone against Nebraska. And a little unusual for Nebraska teams to get penalized a lot, Jim, because they play with so many older players. They have a system at Nebraska, particularly for linemen. You come in, you play in the JV team, then you redshirt your second year, you're a backup your third year, and then start for 2 seasons.
You're looking at Bill McCartney in his 8th year at Colorado, and Tom Osborne, 17th season, guiding Nebraska.
Well, Tom Osborne, I think, has done a remarkable job because he gets it done with not nearly as many blue-chip athletes as some of the other top programs, just because of the population base he has to recruit from. He doesn't get the kind of guys that Nebraska or Oklahoma or Southern Cal get.
First and 20, Nebraska from the 17-yard line. John Bostic has come in as a receiver. Godowski keeps. Godowski with room. Godowski to midfield and a first down for Nebraska. 35 yards for Jerry Godowski.
You know, one of those subtle things that help you win football games is faking, ball faking. He sticks the ball right into the fullback's chest, Carpenter. Walker, number 83, thinks he has the ball. One of the inside linebackers think he has the ball. And then he gets to the corner. He looks a little bit like a guy running to catch a bus. But don't let him fool you. He's got some pretty good foot speed.
Bostic had a nice block for him. Kind of caught up to that bus. Put the football in Colorado territory at the 48. Now steps back and throws off his back foot and out of bounds.
And boy, was Richard Bell, the wingback, wide open down the center of the defense, Jim. He was open by 20 yards. Watch number 21 right here, who's going to come in motion right here and go right down the middle of the defense. Now, all the play action is the other way. He is open by a good 20 yards. Would have been an easy, easy score.
Godowski didn't see him because Alfred Williams was visiting in the backfield.
That'll get your attention.
2nd down and 10. Huskers inside of 3 minutes, first quarter. Colorado leading 14-7. Late pitch to Clark, and he gains 1. Football is loose. They're going to rule it down. Boy, that's the way to defense the option, isn't it, Pat?
Boy, and you know who was leading the defense was Dave McCluen, number 12, the corner. He plays to the wide side. He has to cover the fastest receiver every time, and he's got to make physical plays like this. First, it's inside penetration that forces Godowski to pitch the ball. Salavea does his job. But McCluen fights off one blocker. He's going to come to the left part of the screen, fights off the wide receiver's block, and then puts the stop on Clark. McCluen has had a remarkable year for the Buffaloes.
McCluen's father, Kent, played at Nebraska, and 6 years for the Raiders. 3rd and long, Godowski throwing, and a pass is over the head of Gregory.
And it was over the head because it was Alfred Williams, number 94, got his big paws up there. He is 6'6". And if you can't get to the quarterback to make the sack, you can do something just as good. Get the paw up, force him to throw the ball too high. And that is just what happened. Godowski could not follow through. The receiver was wide open, but the ball sailed high. You know, it's just little things, Jim. You talk about getting your hands up, play action fakes. Those subtle things add up during the course of a game.
You know, Nebraska didn't run a deep enough route either. They had to get to the 39, and had Gregory caught it, he only would have advanced it to about the 41 anyway. Stiggy with pressure gets it away. Campbell watches it sail out of bounds. Where did it go out? Spotted at the 21-yard line. You know, Pat, it's been a year that's really not only been emotional for Colorado, it's been up and down. The public image of this team is on the mend. Just 9 months ago, this community in Boulder was outraged at the continual off-the-field incidents involving the football team. Over a 2-year stretch, there had been over 30 run-ins with the law. Flanagan on the run. Mills can't hold on. Now he's raced out by Pickens. 2 players were charged with rape, but later acquitted. And during the summer, 2 starters in the defensive backfield for Coach McCartney were kicked off the team for disciplinary problems. But there have been no problems since that time. And Bill McCartney has taken measures to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, he's pulled in the reins, Jim, and if college football is ever going to get cleaned up, it's going to be head coaches and administrators and university presidents that are going to not allow those problems to happen.
2nd and 6. Flanagan had picked up 4. Hagan steps back and throws, and he is hit. The ball is incomplete. Wow. Just as he was releasing the football, Jeff Mills came barreling in there.
Jeff Mills, we have seen him twice this game already make plays like that. Broderick Thomas was the star on defense last year, but Jeff Mills has filled in capably. He can get up the field, rush the passer as he did right there. He's strong enough, has really strong hands, and has a burst to be able to run plays down from behind.
3rd and 6 for Colorado. Hagan fumbles. Football is loose, and it's recovered by the Buffaloes. I believe Jay Lewinberg, yes, the center, falls on it at the 20.
You know, Terrian Hagan is trying to look over some awfully tall guys. Now, this is a little different this year for Colorado. They ordinarily get him way to the corner of the defense, but he pulls up because of good penetration by Kent Wells, number 91. And then the ball comes right out of his hands. I think he was trying to change hands, and he was going to cut back inside.
Ruin to punt for the 2nd time in the opening quarter.
He is concerned about a punt block possibility, so he talks to his up man.
Talked to Scott Phillips. And now the snap back. Pickens comes in on him. Ruin gets it away. That was close. Hughes on the return. Hughes breaks the tackle. Swings free and steps out of bounds at the 50-yard line. So the Huskers set up at midfield now. It is now time to present this week's Toyota Leadership Award to team players who have been singled out by their school's coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performances. Today's game team leadership winners: Ken Culbertson from Colorado. Ken is a history major from Boulder. He's the place kicker. And for Nebraska, Jerry Godowski. Jerry is an accounting major, 3.7 grade point average from Fremont, Nebraska. And Toyota donates a check for $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Right at the 50-yard line. Final 30 seconds of the first quarter. A wild one with Colorado leading 14-7. Sam Schmidt in at fullback. Handoff to Clark. Oh, they're going to whistle the play dead. That flag came in at the last second, Pat.
Oh, and that is a break for Colorado because Ken Clark had a seam through that defense.
Dead ball. False start on the offense.
Again, there is a very much a home field advantage in college football because of the noise. And Jerry Godowski does as much audibleizing and changing the play at the line of scrimmage as any quarterback in the Big 8. But sometimes with the crowd noise, you can't hear it, and you're going to have some movement and penalties like that. The third offside penalty for Nebraska already. Now again, first and about 15 here, Jim. First and 15. They opened the game with that screen pass into the short side of the field. Another perfect opportunity to run that with the ball on the hash mark.
The official stopped play for a moment to reset the clock, put the 2 seconds back on. 32 seconds left in the first quarter. Clark and Schmidt now in the backfield. Schmidt, the fullback. Delay give to Clark. Whoa, what a tackle by Bruce Young.
Bruce Young, the strong safety, did a great job there, and I think strong safety is one of the most difficult positions to play in football because you're asked to do so much. You have to come up and make plays like this. Oftentimes you have to fight through big old tackles and guards. They ask you to play man-for-man coverage. Well, Bruce Young has been able to do it all for the Buffaloes this year.
Bruce Young, the strong safety. And he makes the tackle on the final play of the first quarter. With Colorado leading 14-7, college football on CBS Sports returns after this message and a word from your local station. Miles back into that majestic range. The peaks top out at about 14,000 feet. It's better known as the Continental Divide. But down below, it's the headquarters of the Buffaloes, home of Colorado football. And the second-ranked Buffaloes leading after the first quarter against third-ranked Nebraska, 14-7. If you've just joined us, this game is for the Big 8. And not only that, but the berth into the Orange Bowl and a possible shot against Notre Dame for the national championship come January the 1st.
And, Jim, it's been a day of big plays thus far.
We start the second quarter. Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden and John Dockery. Nebraska, 2nd and 14 from its own 46-yard line. Godowski will keep it. He has all kinds of room. Past the first down inside the 40 at the 37. Tim James on the tackle after the 17-yard gain by Godowski. Yeah, what a first quarter, Pat. You mentioned the first time Nebraska touched the football after an interception by Tyrone Bird. Godowski and Carpenter hooked up on a screen, 51 yards for a touchdown. Back came Flanagan, a late pitch on the option, 70 yards to tie it. And then Campbell's punt return set up Colorado inside the 5 before Hagan took it in for the go-ahead score at the moment. 1st and 10, Huskers at the 37 of the Buffaloes. Going with Clark.
Wow.
He is knocked down hard at the 35-yard line. Michael Jones and Chad Brown.
What a play by Michael Jones. I think one of the toughest things for an inside linebacker to do is fight through traffic and stay focused on a ball carrier. It's very difficult to do. But Jones held his ground, fought through a couple guys, and then put the stop on Ken Clark. He's a guy who makes all their adjustments, Jimmy. makes all their changes and their audibles on defense.
Ken Clark has been stymied to this point. 7 carries for 8 yards. Remember, he was held out last week against Iowa State because of sore knees. Been a problem for him since the opener against Northern Illinois. Oh, a stop of play here as Nebraska was showing either a reverse or a fake reverse.
It was a fake reverse.
Richard Bell was the man who was coming around, and Clark was running by him.
Dead ball. False start of the offense.
Well,
That's the 4th time, Jim, and again, I don't think we can emphasize enough how loud it is here. A home field advantage in college football is much different than professional football. This crowd has been on their feet all day and making an awful lot of noise. And for a team that changes the play at the line of scrimmage a lot like Nebraska does, it's going to be a tough afternoon in that regard.
well, the seat's over 50,000 here, but it can get loud. Just ask Illinois. Played here the start of the season. Second down, 12. And again, Nebraska is stuffed at the line of scrimmage.
And Joel Steed was the guy, Jim, the nose tackle. And he has made a huge difference on this defensive team. He is right here. Good defense starts right down the middle. If you don't have a strong nose tackle in college football, you're going to see an awful lot of fullback plunges. Joel Steed, as a sophomore, has been, I think, the biggest difference in this defense this year. The reason they're 8-0.
And again, he's just a sophomore, the youngest starter on this defense. Colorado has started the same 11 on D every game this year. 3rd and 13 for Nebraska. That last carry by Carpenter.
Well, he went out of bounds.
And a pass is caught inside the 10 at the 8-yard line.
The receiver was out of bounds.
That receiver is Morgan Gregory. He was out of bounds, clearly out of bounds, Pat.
Now, in college football, if you get pushed out of bounds, you can come back in. But if he went out on his own momentum, top of the screen here, that is Morgan Gregory. Now, you're going to see that he does go out of bounds. The question is, does he get pushed out? Yep. It was Dave McClellan, number 12, who pushed him out. Then he's allowed to come back in. Different rule than professional football.
Gains 32 yards. 1st and goal for the Huskers. Carpenter and Clark in the backfield. Lining up in the power I. With Turner coming in there as well. Godowski hammered down by Canavis McGee. We've talked about Williams. McGee mans the other side, Pat.
Well, I think it's the best pair of outside linebackers that I have seen this year. And what they can do is rush the passer, and then they can chase you down from behind. And they can play off the tight ends. They can cover backs out of the backfield. Number 96. Look, he fights off a big block there. That's the guard or the center. He fights through that guy. That's a big body to put the stop on Godowski. Very determined Canavis McGee this year.
McGee played his high school football at Wheatley High School in Houston. His coach was Kenny Houston, the Hall of Famer, who told him, don't play college basketball. You're 6'5". There are a lot of guys 6'5", play football. 2nd and goal for Nebraska. And Godowski just lobs it through the end zone. Intended for Chris Garrett.
That is a nice coverage there by David Gibbs and by Bruce Young, number 7 and number 15. And the free safety, Tim James, number 17. Never got fooled. And I tell you, when you play a team that runs the ball as well as Nebraska, the free safety has the most difficult job in the ballpark because he's got to come up and support on that run, but then he can't get fooled on play-action passes.
Well, Pat, Joe Steed, you've talked so much about, had pressure on Godowski on that play. 3rd and goal from the 12 for the Cornhuskers. Godowski for Gregory, touchdown Nebraska. That's the combination that hooked up 32 yards inside of the 10 to set up the score.
That was was a very nice drive by Jerry Kadowski. A lot of question marks about this Nebraska team, Jim, as you mentioned. But I think they're answering a lot of those questions. Their coaches said they can compete with anybody, and they feel they can. They're doing it today.
Barrios to tie the game on the extra point. And he does. 14-all.
This was a little too easy, I think, Jim. On a passing situation, you can't give a wide receiver this much room. Gregory wide open for an easy score.
Nebraska and Colorado deadlocked at 14. Chris Drennan handles the kickoff chores and the long field goal attempts for Nebraska. He's a lefty, as well as Barrios, the other kicker. Here's Pritchard on the return, and he does not make it to the 20. Knocked down at the 18. Hagan about to come out once again. Tomorrow, the NFL on CBS, of course, gets started with the NFL today. Many of you will see the Bears against Green Bay. And we've seen Don Majkowski up there for the Packers. He can really put on a show.
So he has been remarkable, bringing his team from behind like 4 times this year. Majkowski has 16 touchdown passes on the year. And Lindy Infante, their head coach, I think has one of the most innovative offenses in all of pro football.
Check your local listings. The NFL today gets us started at 12:30 Eastern Time. 1st and 10 for the Buffs. Hagan pitching to Flanagan again. No gain.
Wow. Unbelievable pitch again by Hagan, even though it didn't gain much. But one thing you learned there, Jim, if Reggie Cooper, number 17, the strong safety, is making the play on the quarterback, somebody should be open down the middle of the defense on a big pass play.
Tahan Lewis shaken up.
Lewis has been a guy who came into this game with some injuries, Jim. Here's the play. The strong safety, number 17, is going to put the early pressure on Hagan. And then number 5, Lewis there.
Again, it's a situation where he got hit by his own teammates. But he's on his feet and looks fine.
Anytime you have a defense that swarms to the ball, you're going to have injuries like that. You're going to hit your own players.
Tahan Lewis from Colorado, just like Morgan Gregory, just scored the tying touchdown. He's from Denver. Flanagan on 2nd and 9. Nothing there for the Buffaloes. Pat Tyrants got him first.
Well, the passing plays, most of the 95 yards from Nebraska coming on that first pass, the 51-yarder. Hagan is 0 for 4. He had 1 intercepted and 2 batted down.
Bear in mind, Nebraska leads the nation in rushing, over 400 yards a game. It's nothing out of the ordinary. Nebraska has led the country in that stat 5 times during the 80s. This year, Colorado is 3rd.
Yeah, it has been an explosive year for Colorado, and particularly that man, Darian Hagan, who, Jim, I believe deserves serious consideration for the Heisman Trophy.
Hagan here running the option. He'll keep. Cut it back to the middle. Mills rides his back to the 28-yard line near a first down. Pat, you just claimed that Hagan should deserve Heisman consideration. It's hard to argue the importance of his role coming in this year in leading the Buffaloes to this point.
Well, first of all, think about the position he stepped into. The emotional loss of their quarterback, Sal and Essay. A big question mark, asked to not even play quarterback this year. He wanted to be a running back, but then with the loss of an Essay, they said, you've got to be our quarterback. The biggest question for this Colorado team this year was, how well was Hagan going to play? Well, he has played remarkably well, and he is the biggest reason they're 8-0. He has meant as much to his team as any of the other Heisman Trophy candidates.
The statistics you just saw, 6 carries, 16 yards. Don't forget that the touchdown run to Flanagan was all Hagan for the first 30 yards.
Yeah, all
the late pitch. Yep. They pick up the first down. Hagan tripped up momentarily. Now Rush coming on him, and the pass is short of a wide open Mike Pritchard.
And it was short because of Pat Tyrants. And there's the guy, Eric Bieniemy, led the team in rushing a year ago. And their emotional leader now, but Tyrants did a great job of coming inside. As soon as he sees the guard pull, he shoots the gap and puts pressure on Hagan.
Eric Bieniemy, some had said would be a Heisman candidate before the season, but has been banged up. A hairline fracture of his leg, could play possible. Flanagan has to wait for the pitch, and now wrestled down by Reggie Cooper. That was 2nd and 10 for the Buffs.
And what a play by Reggie Cooper. Just fought through the block of Mike Pritchard. You know, J.J. Flanagan is a dangerous guy on the corner of the defense. And he had a blocker out in front of him, number 9, Pritchard. But Reggie Cooper just refused to get blocked. Just fought through, tossed Pritchard aside, and took care of it. So I was watching Reggie Cooper before the game. He's just one of those guys who looks like a player. You know, 6'3", 205, looks great in a uniform. The man looks like he can play the game.
From Slidell, Louisiana, right next to Lake Pontchartrain. 3rd down and 11. Hagan with the rush coming on, looking for Campbell. I think he's overthrown him. Oh, I tell you, he really threw that one too. A great distance, about 60 yards. With the pressure coming on, Hagan, ambidextrous, can throw the football over 70 yards righty and over 50 yards lefty.
But the story today and why he has not been able to complete a pass is because of in the rush. Mike Kroll, number 88, is all over him. Kent Wells, number 91, is there to say hello as well. If they give him a little bit more time, he has an accurate arm, a big-time arm.
So Tom Ruin back in to punt on 4th and 11. He's keeping that average up that leads the nation. It's another dandy by Ruin. And Hughes on the return to the 27-yard line. We're approaching the midway point of the 2nd quarter. 2nd ranked Colorado, 3rd ranked Nebraska, tied at 14. Well, I could feel that blow up here. You know, Nebraska, speaking of streaks, has won 17 straight regular season games. We chronicle the fact that Nebraska has played in obscurity. But from Colorado's standpoint, they're ranked ahead of the Huskers, 2nd instead of 3rd, because Colorado has beaten Illinois, a contender in the Big Ten, Texas, the current leader in the Southwest Conference, a pretty good Washington team, and Oklahoma. 1st and 10, Nebraska, from its own 27-yard line. Ken Clark trying to get unleashed, and he picks up a 1st down at the 40. He had a big gainer earlier, but it was called back because of a penalty. This one picks up 13, his biggest gain of the day.
I think what makes Ken Clark a very good running back is that he wants to be a better runner the next play than he was the last. You give him the ball 25, 30 times, which they can do, and he gets better and better as the game goes on. And again, notice the yards after contact. We mentioned that earlier, 3-4 yards after he gets hit.
All-time 3rd rusher at Nebraska, could pass. I am hit today and move into 2nd. Needs 140. Carpenter taking the pass from Godowski, moving into the Colorado side of the field at the 45-yard line. A gain of 15 yards.
Brian Carpenter is not your ordinary type of fullback, Jim. He is a guy with speed who can break long runs. We saw him catch the 51-yard touchdown pass early in the game. He's a terrific receiver out of the backfield, as he just caught his 2nd pass of the day, and he can block. They ask him to do a lot of things, and he does them all remarkably well.
You know, Osborne says that he's a new man this year, and he pinpoints it because of breakfast. Carpenter was missing breakfast prior to this year. Osborne told him, eat your breakfast, just like my grandmother tells me. Carpenter again. That's Clark. Clark runs into that wall of defenders by Colorado.
You know, it's an interesting game thus far. College football is so much a game of adjustments. The Nebraska team, Nebraska defense in particular, the last series made some nice adjustments. Now Colorado's defense is trying to find its way, its adjustments. How do you stop Godowski on the corner of the defense? How do you defend the pass? And still, the power of Ken Clark. What you need is great down lineman play from Steed and Walker and Salavea.
Second down 10, 2 tight ends for the Huskers. Kratson, Stein, and Garrett. Godowski now plants his feet, was looking to throw. Alfred Williams on his back. Incomplete. No in-the-grasp rule in college football. That will go as an incompletion.
We talked about Alfred Williams, Jim, being a complete player. You are seeing it today. Remember, he got cut, he bounced right back up and made the play. We've seen him stuff tight ends, stuff the run. There he runs down the quarterback, Godowski, on a pass pattern. Again, there's a lot of people trying to block him. That time it was Chris Garrett, a tight end. He just threw him aside and grabbed on to Godowski. As you pointed out, no in-the-grasp rule.
5 tackles already by Williams, a couple of those behind the line of scrimmage. 3rd and 10. Bostic lines up as the receiver wide to the left. Godowski calls a timeout once he's under center. So 7 minutes left before the intermission, and the game is tied at 14.
Welcome back to Boulder, Colorado. We talked a lot about what Sal Inessi has meant to this team here in Colorado. I'm with his brother Joe now. And Joe, can you tell us some of the ways that you and the family have dealt with this?
I think first of all, the most important is our faith in God. I think God has a plan for Sal out there. And second, just the family. You know, we've been strong. My brother and sister, my mom and dad, just the family support. But third, probably most important, is just the people around. Everybody that's been concerned and cared about Sal to show their love from California to Colorado, everywhere. So I give our thanks to him.
Okay, Joe, thank you very much, and good luck to you. Jim?
All right, Doc. Sal Inessi was 21 years old when he passed away of inoperable stomach cancer on September the 23rd.
3rd and 10, a very important down for the Colorado defense right here.
Godowski to Bostic. He would not have had the first down anyway at the 40-yard line.
Well, what they were trying to do is get the ball to him on the move, Jim. He was 5 yards short, but you hope that he can catch it on the move, dart upfield, and pick up the additional 5 yards.
Godowski kind of lost his footing and attempted to make the catch on his knees, so the ball would have stopped right there at the 40. He did have some room between the defenders. Stiggy now to punt to Campbell. Coming off that 47-yard return on the last punt. Stiggy aiming for the left side of the field. Good punt. Huskers, the bounce into the end zone. And a touchback. Out to the 20. Nebraska has won 20 of the last 21 games. The only win for the Buffaloes, 1986. But look at the point difference. I mean, it has clearly been one-sided. The last time these two met in a game where they both were undefeated, like today, was 1904. Colorado won that day 6-0 to break Nebraska's 25-game win streak, which still stands as their all-time record. Inside handoff to Kissick. And Kissick picks up 9 yards. He doesn't get to see the football too often, but he made the most of it on that carry.
Yeah, they like to give it to him once every lunar eclipse. But I'll tell you, this guy is a great player. He doesn't need a lot of headlines. This is an unselfish football team, and the most unselfish player is Eric Kissick, the fullback. He went 2 games this year without ever even touching the ball, never complained. He's a dominating blocker, and when you give him a chance to run with the ball, he can do it just like that.
Consider he has tasted success on the ground. 2 years ago, he had 3 games where he rushed for over 120 yards. Now he hardly ever sees it. On 2nd and short, Hagan got the necessary yardage. Tyrants cut him under, but it's a first down for the Buffaloes.
In a game of momentum, 6:08 remaining in the second quarter, 14-14. What Colorado wants to do here is to move those chains, pick up the first downs, not necessarily a big play, use as much of the clock as they can, and go up at halftime with a lead.
Michigan State manhandled Indiana today, and Anthony Thompson. Hagan looking for Campbell again. Incomplete. Campbell seemed to jump a little too soon. But they're still going long against this Cornhusker secondary. Mike Petco was putting pressure on Hagan, who was still looking for his first completion of the day.
And you were talking about the domination of the Colorado program by Nebraska, but I think Bill McCartney has got this program on the right track. Came in here at 1982, didn't have great talent, threw the ball for 3 years. Then as he recruited a little better players, he moved to the wishbone because he thought he could do something with the option. And then he recruited guys like J.J. Flanagan and Eric Bieniemy and moved to the I formation. But Colorado's program is on solid footing now, believe me.
Second down at 10. His team aiming at an Orange Bowl. He played in 2 Orange Bowls when he was at Missouri as a player. Flanagan has some room and just short of a first down at the 40-yard line. After a 9-yard gain, Cooper and Petco tackle him. We're on the campus of the Colorado Buffaloes, the second-ranked team in the country, playing number 3 Nebraska. And the game is tied at 14. It's been a game of big plays to this point. The Orange Bowl dangling before their eyes today. Each team 8-0 on the season coming in. 3rd and 1. This situation Colorado always conquers. Hagan leaps and hurdles his way for the first down.
You know, the real frustrating thing, if you're Nebraska, is you can't defend a play any better than that. I mean, basically, they had theoretically taken away all the options, but it was pure athletic ability by Darian Hagan. There's a lot of white jerseys. There's 3 white jerseys right there that should have put the play on him. He just hops over a couple guys. And again, he has a real knack of being able to find his way through traffic. Fun to watch.
Now inside 5 minutes. First down, Hagan. Just back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a yard. Petco and Tyrants on the tackle.
Petco, number 37, is a guy that the Nebraska coaches were a little concerned about this week. This guy gets so fired up during practice. They had to pull him off the field on Thursday and say, Mike, relax. The game's 2 days away. Take it easy. Got a couple of days. You'll get a chance. But he can play inside.
Second down and 8. Pitch a low and fielded by Flanagan. Does a good job just to hold on to it and not lose the football.
And it was Jeff Mills again, Jim, who created the quick pitch. And one thing you don't want an option quarterback to do is to get into a rhythm. So you try to disrupt that by making him pitch the ball before he wanted to. And Jeff Mills did it for the 3rd time today.
Colorado comes to the line facing 3rd and 9 with 3:40 left in the second quarter. Tied at 14. Kissick offset from his fullback position. Flanagan the tailback, and movement on the right side. Vanderpool.
Yep. It's hard to miss him when he moves. He is 6'8", 305 pounds. He's as large as several small states. And he's got some big old hoofs too. Look at those feet. I'll tell you, he has done a remarkable job. There's the hoofs. But what they ask a lot of their tackles at Colorado. They ask them to pull on traps. They ask them to pass block. They ask them to double team. And Mark Vanderpool has been done it all for the Buffaloes.
Mark Vanderpool, MVP, Mark Vanderpool. Actually, there's a lot of guys you could say are MVPs on that offensive line. Joe Garton may have had the best year for him to this point for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, the left guard.
The left guard.
Yeah.
3rd and 14. And again, the flags come out. That last one was just the first penalty of the game for Colorado.
You know, that's an interesting point, too, because they came into this game averaging 9 penalties a game. That's one thing Bill McCartney was very concerned about, were those penalties. And now this is not Colorado's kind of down. 3rd and very long. And Nebraska defense has done a nice job of adjusting here, I think, Jim. And I think this is the 2nd time in the last 2 series that Colorado has been in 3rd and very long situations.
Well, the back-to-back penalties makes it 3rd and 19. John Bowman, a backup tight end, comes in. They go with the double tight end set. John Parrott, the starter, lined up on the left side. They'll pitch it, run it with Flanagan. Flanagan looking for the corner. He won't get it because Tyrone Bird was waiting for him.
Boy, has Tyrone Bird had a game so far?
He really has.
He steps in for the injured Marvin Sanders, intercepts a pass, stuffed a couple of plays down by the goal line to keep J.J. Flanagan out, and then makes a very physical play right there. This game is fun, isn't it?
You know, Tom Ruin, it really is. Tom Ruin, some might say, well, he's got the advantage of the high altitude in Colorado. His average per kick is better on the road than it is at home. Over 47 yards a kick on the road, 46 at home. He didn't catch all of this one.
He'll get a good bounce.
Hughes lets it roll around down near the 10-yard line. Indeed, a favorable bounce, 51 yards for Ruin.
Nice miss. It's like that 9-iron you hit sometimes.
It's like you. When you miss hit a 9-iron, you're still all over the flag.
Right.
All over the flag.
You know, the defensive coordinator at Colorado, Mike Hankwitz, he's the man with the headset right there. He has done a nice job this year of letting great athletes play. Hasn't had to use a lot of tricks this year because he knows he's got good personnel and been able to make adjustments during the course of the year to help his team win.
You know, right off the bat, the big adjustments came at the corners with McLuhan and Gibbs, and they both have really done a great job to gel this defense. Worst starting field position for Nebraska. Good fake by Godowski, looking for Gregory, but over the head of Gregory.
Boy, that was a good fake. I want to tell you, the recipient of a pretty big hit was Ken Clark, who got smoked by Joel Steed, the nose tackle. Again, watch right there in the middle of your screen. Number 90 fought through about 3 guys. He smacks Ken Clark, but he doesn't have the ball. I mean, if you're going to get a hit, you might as well have the ball, I guess.
Mike Hankwitz, his defense trying to hold on. Could set up Colorado with one last shot before the intermission. Second down and 10. Sam Schmidt in the backfield. They run it with the wing, Richard Bell. And Bell is buried at the 9. Howe and Williams on the tackle.
Well, Gary Howe, number 95, with a big cast on his hand, has had a really productive year.
Timeout call by the Buffaloes with 1:50 left in the second quarter. They have their eyes set on getting the football back here right before the intermission with the game tied.
Said if we're going to beat Nebraska today, we have to stunt. We have to move people around up front, and that's what happened here. Watch these 3 guys as they move around and create some problems for the Nebraska blocking scheme. Steed does the swim move with the hand. Number 34 is Chad Brown, who fights through a play. And then there's number 95, Howell, makes the play, but it was Chad Brown who stunted inside and really put the first hit on. This is a guy who also has had an incredibly productive year. Chad Brown started the year as a pass defender, but now he plays on rundowns too.
From the 9-yard line, it's 3rd and 11 for Nebraska. Colorado has 2 timeouts remaining. Quarterback draw with Godowski, and he's short of the first down. Bruce Young came up. He saw it. He was not fooled.
1:42 remaining in the half. Colorado has 2 timeouts remaining. They want to score before half.
And they'll take another one here, leaving them with 1. CFA college football will be back in a moment. From deep in its own territory, Colorado should have a chance now to set up good field position before the intermission.
Let's remember, this Colorado team has already had 1 punt return, a big punt return by Campbell. They're 4th in the nation coming into the game. And they still have 1 timeout remaining.
Mike Stiggy averaging 40 yards a punt. He has had 1 block this year. Setting up a return, a low kick. He drives it to Campbell at his own 45. They'll try the middle, only for 5. 41-yard punt, 6-yard return in all. Colorado starts from midfield.
Jim, good offensive football teams squeeze as many scores as they can out of a game right before halftime. Colorado has been amazing. This year, they have scored 7 times in the final 2 minutes of their games.
They'll have an opportunity here, Pat. Hemingway comes in at fullback. Flanagan remains the tailback. Hagan running it for 3 yards. Remember, 1 timeout left for the Buffaloes.
And Jim, for a field goal attempt, they need to get down to about the 35-yard line, 30 to 35-yard line, to have a reasonable chance for a field goal attempt.
Campbell to the left, Pritchard, bottom portion of your screen. 2nd and 7. Hagan rifles the pass to Hemingway and a first down. He tumbled and twisted his way for a first down. It's the first completion of the day for Hagan.
Again, what Hagan is doing, using the clock extremely well. 1:05 remaining. They don't start the clock until the chains are set. He's at the line of scrimmage and calling the play from there.
Same formation. From the 38. Hagan is hit on the blitz. Actually, Kent Wells got him. They came racing in there, the Cornhuskers. And Kent Wells, the senior from Lincoln, got him.
-7 on the sack, and that is a big play by Kent Wells, number 91. And he was looking forward to this kind of game. He said this is a smash-mouth kind of game. Ran right over the guard to make the play.
Hagan stops the clock as he throws it out of bounds. That was a 2nd down play. So now 36 seconds on the clock, and 3rd and 17 coming up for Colorado.
And Jim, they need about 10 yards, maybe 10, 12 yards on this 3rd down play to give themselves a reasonable shot at a field goal.
Culbertson on the sidelines. He has kicked them 60 yards in practice. Hagan. No, he's not down. Here he goes, Hagan. Wow. And he gets him in field goal range. He's short of the first down. It was a gain of 13. He is a wizard.
He is remarkable. It's like, you know, eating Jell-O with chopsticks, trying to tackle Darian Hagan. The guy does this thing all on his own. I mean, that should have been a sack. He had 3 guys that, you know, you think of him, if you watch him just for a short period of time, as a quick, clever option runner, but he is a powerful runner as well. He can break tackles.
I said he looks like a wizard. He's like a pinball wizard the way he's bouncing around.
Yeah, you try to keep up with him, Jim.
I can't.
I knew that coming in.
But that was the play, spinning away like that. It's 4th and about 5, but they're going to be able to attempt now a field goal with 18 seconds left. Probably will be about a 49 or 50-yarder.
You know, it's funny, Jim. The whole campus has been so excited about this Colorado team. One of the physics professors called Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, this week and said, hey, on these field goal attempts, why don't you line it back 10 yards? Because you don't get them blocked that way. The angle, he went through all the reasons you should line it up 10 yards, but they didn't pay much to his advice. They're still lining up at 7 yards.
Jeff Campbell will hold. Officially, it's 49 yards. His career long is 52. His long of 89 is 47 yards. Culbertson has the distance, has the accuracy. Colorado leads. I see you, Teddy. Buffaloes. And let's watch Ken Culbertson one more time. You can't get much better than that. Plenty to spare. And again, a field goal really set up because of the athletic play made by Darian Hagan.
I said it's so frustrating playing against this Colorado team. And where I was talking to Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator at Nebraska, and that's what he said. He said, you know, you could have him perfectly defended, and he can still come up with big plays and touchdowns. And that was just another example of what Hagan has meant to this Colorado team this season.
Coming up at halftime, we're going to send you back to New York. Greg Gumbel and Mike Francesa are manning the studio there. We'll be talking with Hubie Brown, getting a perspective on the NBA season, which tipped off last night. Also some new information on Minnesota and Lou Holtz, formerly the Golden Gopher coach. Little pooch kick by Culbertson. And raced out to the 39-yard line by Tim Yonk, the backup fullback. 8 seconds remaining. John Dockery down on the sidelines. Doc, some thoughts on the second half right now?
You know, Jim, I think that Osborne will remain his conservative self. Obviously, he's in the game. It's been a game of big plays. But in terms of Colorado, I think they're going to have some momentum going in. If certainly that field goal provided some of it. So I think you'll see Colorado come out and could play their game.
Well, you're right, Jim. Doc, and Nebraska has the ball in the second half, though, so their defense is going to have to stuff them first.
Gregory left, Bell in a slot left. Will Godowski try a long one here before the half? He does indeed, and he's got a man open. Wow, there were 2 Cornhuskers in the area, only 1 defender, McLuhan. And that pass intended for Richard Bell was overthrown.
You know, that's the second time we have seen the wingback wide open. Remember earlier in the game we saw him over the middle of the field. That time he came to the outside and was open again.
1 second remaining.
Now looking at Tom Osborne with the headsets on, Jim, he is their offensive coordinator, has been for 17 years. He believes he wants to be in the game. He wants to call plays so he can stay close to the players in the game.
Look at McCartney's spot that one man, Bostic, was open. He got a defender over there in a hurry. He got McGee on the line, but it doesn't matter. They're running the football with Ken Clark. Clark picks up big yardage, but the half ends. 21-yard gain by Clark, but it's a 17-14 lead by Colorado with the Big 8 championship and a berth in the Orange Bowl and a possible duel with Notre Dame on the line today here in Boulder. 17-14 at the intermission. Now let's take it back to New York with Greg Gumbel hosting the remnants of snow in the south end zone. They had 5 inches of snow on Wednesday, but it's warmed up. Temperatures in the 60s today for this Big 8 duel. Ken Culbertson will kick to Nebraska, but not before the ball blows off the tee.
And Jim, the first possession of every second half, I think, is always the most important. And I think Nebraska in the first half did a nice job of adjusting, particularly defensively. But right now, it's important, down by 3 points, to get a couple of those first downs, get themselves in a chance to come up with another big play offensively. It's been a day of big plays.
Culbertson drives it midway through the end zone, and Bell will down it, bring it out to the 20. Bill McCartney spoke moments ago to John Dockery.
Coach, what did you say to him at the half?
Well, we got to protect Hagan better. If we give him a little more time, we're having trouble running the option because of the way they're supporting so aggressively with the free safety. And if we can give him time to step back here and throw that ball off the option fakes, I think we can make some big plays against them. But it's hard for us to pump the option at them consistently the way they're playing us.
Now comes the option offense led by Jerry Godowski and Nebraska.
This Colorado defense has not given up a touchdown in the third quarter all season long.
Only 2 field goals. Inside give to Carpenter and a gain of 3. Terry Johnson on the tackle along with Michael Jones. In the first half, the Huskers scored on their first play and then punted 3 straight times before another touchdown. 2 more punts and the half ended.
Neither team, Jim, on offense has really gotten into a rhythm. It's been a series of big plays, but good defensive plays that have forced them to kind of adjust.
2nd down and 7 from the 23-yard line. Ken Clark, 10 carries, 42 yards in the first half. Most of that on the last carry of the half. Here he goes again. Clark gets the first down past the 30. He had to get to the 30. He got to the 31-yard line, and he's tackled by Michael Jones.
And again, what he does, as you saw there, is get on the corner on the edge of a defender. Nobody gets a clear shot at Ken Clark, and that's why he breaks so many tackles. There were 2 or 3 guys bouncing off his arms and his shoulder pads, but nobody ever got in front of him.
He's a hard runner. Tom Osborne says he loves it. He loves to watch when Ken Clark splatters people. They'll run right over you, that's for sure. 1st and 10, Nebraska. Clark, the middle, kind of lost his footing. He should have gotten more out of that, only to the 33-yard line. Michael Jones in the area.
You know, Jim, talking about Ken Clark being physical, you know, he started this year really trying to be a finesse runner. Decided to change his style, but it wasn't working for him. He got hurt in the first game, and then about 4 weeks into the season, he brought out an old highlight film of Mike Rozier, the 1983 Heisman Trophy winner, saw how physically he ran inside, and he has gone back to that physical inside kind of running.
2nd down, 8. We'll try Clark again to the 36-yard line. Tricked by Oakland's Salavia. And we go back to the sidelines with John Dockery. John?
Hey, Jim, the weather conditions are changing slightly down here. There's a wind that's whipping around the stadium. It's coming from right to left. And at certain times, as it gusts, it may affect the passing game of both teams. Now back to you guys.
I think the wind not only got the flags, but got John's tie.
That nice new Armani tie. Yeah, I saw that. 3rd and 5, though, into the wind. Tough position for Jerry Godowski.
Morgan Gregory to the left. Washington's the tight end tucked on the right side.
Oh, wow.
An immediate give to the fullback, and nowhere to go is Joel Steed, and that whole line of Colorado says you're going nowhere.
That is a great defensive play, and a big defensive play. I thought Oakland Salavia was going to intercept the handoff. Watch 99. I thought the ball was going to be handed to him. But it was Salavia, it was Steed, it was Walker, it was McGee. They're playing great team defense.
It was Oakland Salavia who last week, after the victory against Oklahoma, led the team into a Samoan prayer to honor Salinesi. And the kick by Stiggy comes to Campbell at the 26. He has an opening. Here he goes, Jeff Campbell. He may break it. He is run down by Richard Bell. That was a great play by Richard Bell, because Campbell, who has great speed of his own, was in the open.
You know, again, I thought there was a clip there by number 6, right there in the back. It was the same player, Eric Hamilton. But what Jeff Campbell does such a nice job of, Jim, is setting up his blockers. And he doesn't waste any time. Every good punt returner that I have seen doesn't dance around the hole. He takes it upfield.
53-yard return. Colorado inside the 20 of Nebraska. Hagan to the 13-yard line. Tyrone Leggett on the tackle.
One of the most dangerous men on the corner of the defense in college football is Darian Hagan, because he can beat you with foot speed, he can run right through you with power, as we've seen, and he can pitch the ball from anywhere on the field. He'll pitch it at the line of scrimmage, and then he'll pitch it maybe 30 yards downfield. We saw that earlier.
Well, there's only one option quarterback you could really compare him to, those kind of moves. That's Jamel Holloway. Holloway is his hero. He grew up in Los Angeles, in the area, just as Holloway did. He saw Jamel first play in a Pop Warner game in the 7th grade. And Hagan running the option right this time, keeping it and getting to the 10-yard line, about a yard short of the first. Mills and Bird on the tackle. Colorado in the first half, their possessions, well, the interception by Bird, a punt, back-to-back touchdowns, including the second one set up by the Campbell return. 3 more punts and a Culbertson field goal. Campbell has set them up in great position again, but it's 3rd and short. 3rd and 1, Pat, from the 10.
Remember, Bill McCartney told John Dockery that if the free safety, Tyrone Bird, comes up and supports on runs, we have to be able to throw the ball. Bird just made that last tackle.
Pissick, Pritchard, and Flanagan in the full house backfield for Colorado. Flanagan, first down, Buffalo.
anytime you're picking up first downs in third and short situations as often as Colorado is, it means your center and your two guards are doing a nice job. Jay Lewinberg, the center, Joe Garten, the left guard, and Darren Muhlenberg, the right guard, did a great job of getting off the line of scrimmage and pushing the line of scrimmage back.
First and goal from the 7. From the right hash mark, we'll run it left. And now the play is whistled dead.
And that's, they were going to come back with the throw to try to beat the free safety, Tyrone Bird. That's exactly what Bill McCartney told John Dockery.
Dead ball. False start. The offense.
Colorado had a couple of those false starts late in the second quarter. This is the third now of the game. First and goal from the 12.
First and goal from the 12 is a very difficult series to score on, particularly when you're not necessarily a strong throwing football team. They need Hagan on the corner of the defense to come up with a big play.
MJ Nelson at the bottom of your screen. Flanagan, Pritchard, and Kissick in the backfield. Hagan will keep running the short side, picking up a short gain. Mike Petco on the tackle to the 9-yard line.
They're talking to Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy putting the helmet on,
yeah.
Pat.
He is a guy that's run the sweep this year with great ability.
He's a guy, too, that Bill McCartney tells us, inside the 10, he is so focused on finding that end zone.
They've never had a great competitor, as good a competitor, inside the 10-yard line as Bieniemy. And he can also throw.
He's thrown for a touchdown this year against Illinois. Running the option, Bieniemy. He's going to throw. And the pass flagged down. I believe it's intercepted. Tyrone Leggett has Bieniemy through.
You know, I've always wondered about a guy rolling to his left and throwing with the right hand, Jim. But they brought him in for that one particular play. He threw a big pass early in the year going to his left.
Now, the flag is an offensive interference. Leggett came down with the football.
Defensive pass interference.
Wow.
First.
So, take it away. Back to Colorado. The football goes.
Take a look. Again, Bieniemy rolling to his left. Pritchard, number 9, is the intended receiver early, and then behind him is MJ Nelson, but he did push on him. Leggett, number 3, pushed off. You didn't see a push off there?
I really didn't see it in that. I think we caught it a little bit late. But the official standing right there, and the ball rests at the 2-yard line.
That's a side judge's call. Oftentimes on an underthrown deep ball like that, you're going to have a defensive back run through the receiver.
So, take away the interception. First and goal from the 2. Flanagan hit at the knees by Kent Wells. We've got another shot of that controversial play, Pat. Take a look.
And again, it's Leggett, number 3, who's going to come into the picture on the underthrown deep ball. Again, Jim, I thought on live action, I thought he pushed before he went up.
Second down goal. Colorado. Pritchard, Kissick, Flanagan in the full house backfield. Pritchard in motion. Running the option. The late pitch to Flanagan. Looking for the corner. He has it. Touchdown, Colorado. You see a student in the background picking up an orange. Oranges are flying from
Darian Hagan will show the defense the ball, and you have to attack the ball. And once you do that, then he pitches it to J.J. Flanagan, and no one's going to catch him on the corner of the defense.
Of the day, and Colorado leads. We talked with Flanagan about this game.
You can look back 10, 20 years from now and know that you was a part of one of the greatest Colorado teams that ever played here, and to know that you were a part of it. And for me, it's special because I have an opportunity to start in one of the biggest games in Colorado history.
He has started, and he has continued. 16 carries, 97 yards, on the brink of breaking the 100-yard barrier.
Jim, it's a game of memories. These guys will remember this game as long as they live.
J.J. Flanagan has not forgotten last year with his fumble. Missed out on a touchdown attempt for Colorado. This ball will be down in the end zone by Tyrone Hughes. Again, Flanagan a year ago broke out into the open. Had a 43-yard touchdown run, apparently. But at the last minute, the ball just fell loose.
He said he's thought about it every night since then. Very important series here, Jim, for the Nebraska offense. Down by 10 points, 8 minutes remain in the third quarter, and all the momentum right now is on the Colorado side of the ball.
Carpenter and Clark. Jake Young snaps it to Godowski. Godowski running the option, and no gain. Chad Brown, redshirt freshman from Pasadena, California, makes the tackle. Nebraska, the leading rushing team in the nation. 400 yards a game they average. And in the first half, 117 yards.
And really, it's been because, I think, largely Arthur Walker, Alfred Williams, Joel Steed, and Oakland Salavia with McGee. The front five have done a remarkable job for Colorado.
Nate Turner to the left, Gregory to the right. Kratzenstein tucked in on the left side, out of the eye on second down. And again, no gain. Ken Clark hit by Walker and Steed.
You know, assistant coaches don't get enough credit. But Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator for Colorado, said to us yesterday, we need to stunt to win this football game. You see all three guys in the down three position move. They didn't feel like they could just stand in there and take on that big Nebraska offensive line. So Mike Hankwitz, that man right there, has set up a nice defensive game plan.
3rd and 9 for Nebraska. Looks like a busted play. Godowski has a man open. And it's Richard Bell, the wingback, picking up the first down after the 13-yard gain to the 34-yard line. Godowski was looking around on the play action. Was that supposed to happen that way, Pat?
I think he was a secondary receiver, Jim, but how many times over the years have we seen wingbacks make plays at Nebraska? Good pressure here on Godowski. It's number 59, Jones, who gets up in his face. And I tell you, that is a courageous throw with that kind of rush on you.
From the 34, Ken Clark slashing and getting to the 40-yard line. 6 minutes left in the third quarter. Colorado 24, Nebraska 14.
Jim, I really believe this is going to come down to be a fourth quarter game. Still a little under 6 minutes in the third quarter. But what offensive and defensive linemen here set the tone for the fourth quarter. Who's going to dominate the line of scrimmage the last 5 minutes of the third quarter sets up the fourth.
Second down, 4. From the Nebraska 40. Ken Clark hit first by Bruce Young. And Clark's about a yard short of the first down. Has to get to the 44.
We have seen Colorado convert third and short an awful lot, Jim, and now Nebraska comes up with their most important third and short situation in this game. 3rd and 1, trying to get back in the ball game, trailing by 10, and keeping the drive alive.
Signals coming in from Hankwitz. 3rd and a yard. 2 tight ends, Washington and Garrett. Carpenter and Clark lined up in the eye behind Godowski. And a timeout signal by Nebraska. So we're inside of 5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Colorado leading by 10.
When they're so precious, well, here's the reason why. Nebraska wanted to run that last play to the right. But see, there's 3 guys right here, including the free safety, Tim James, and that forced Godowski to call the timeout. As you see him move, they're shifting people around. They're causing the offensive quarterback to think. And again, another clever little move by Mike Hankwitz, the defensive coordinator, moving Tim James, his safety, around.
The wind really has picked up, as John Dockery alluded to. Nebraska's going into it, but will have the wind at their backs in the final quarter. 3rd and 1, Nebraska. Pitch to Clark. 1st down, Nebraska. And into Colorado territory at the 49-yard line. William Washington, the backup tight end, with a big block to help free Ken Clark.
You are absolutely right. Without the block of the tackle, Glazer and Washington on the right side, these 2 guys, this is not a 1st down. But watch how Washington locks on Alfred McGee, or Canavis McGee, and just blocks him for 3 or 4 seconds to allow Ken Clark to pick up the 1st down. That's a terrific block by Washington.
1st and 10. Clark goes out in motion. Bell runs it. And Bell gets to the 44-yard line. Tackled by Chad Brown. Back to the sidelines with the Dockster.
Hey, Jim, lest we forget, special teams a very important part of this game. Jeff Campbell, 3 punt returns for 106 yards. He set up 2 touchdowns. He's hoping to get his hands on the ball again. He hasn't stopped walking up and down the sidelines since he's been out of the game. Back to you guys.
You know, John, it's no accident. They start every practice with special teams. They put an awful lot of emphasis on it, and that's why they're so good at it.
2nd down, 4 from the 43 of the Buffaloes. Godowski keeps, fumbled momentarily, and brought it back in. Tim James and Michael Jones put the pop on him.
Now again, if that free safety, Tim James, is up there making plays like that, that means there's nobody back in center field. They ought to be able to throw the ball deep. As soon as the free safety makes a lot of tackles toward the line of scrimmage, you ought to be able to throw the ball up top.
It's 3rd and 2. Godowski's numbers, 8 carries, 62 yards. He needs 6 more yards to have the all-time rushing season by a Nebraska quarterback. Better than any single season rushing than Turner Gill or Steve Taylor, the current record holder. Godowski now dropping back, throwing, and complete to Kratzenstein for a 1st down.
That is a route that Nebraska has run since Bob Devaney was coach years ago. You fake the little sweep, the counter action, and you bring the tight end on the crossing route. Kratzenstein is not going to outrun a lot of people, but if he gets open, he's going to catch it. He doesn't wait for the ball to get to his body. He gets his hands right out there, but Godowski paid the price. 95, Gary Howe puts him to the turf. He is a tough, physically and mentally tough quarterback.
Carpenter, the lone setback. Bell and Turner on the wings. 1st and 10, Godowski keeps to the 27-yard line. A 4-yard pickup. Dave McLuhan from the corner makes the tackle.
Well, Jim, Doug Glazer, the right tackle, number 70. They say he's the best tackle that's ever played at Nebraska. And he does a great job of Arthur Walker. He knows the play is coming outside. He invites him to come inside and then just pushes him away from the play.
Played at Mesquite High School. They call him the Tank. 2nd down, 6. Going with Carpenter. And Carpenter to the 26-yard line.
So Tom Osborne faces his third down situation in this drive. The first two were 3rd and short situations. Now he's in a little bit longer, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5 yards. Again, we have not seen them run the screen pass other than the first play of the game,
which went for a touchdown, 51 yards, Brian Carpenter. 3rd and 5 as the sun breaks out. Will the Cornhuskers. Godowski gets away from the first wave, looking at the end zone, man open. It's Chris Garrett, touchdown, Nebraska. Reception of the year, his 2nd touchdown, and the Cornhuskers can move within 3 with the extra point. Barrios, left-footed soccer-style kicker. Jerry Dunlap on the hold. 24-21 now, Colorado.
Two heavyweights going at one another, Jim. And again, to give the offensive line credit here first, because Godowski had an awful lot of time to get this ball off. And then Chris Garrett did a nice job of adjusting to the ball. And Nebraska is right back in it.
It all gets started 2:30 Eastern time. So a chance to see Miami for many. Others will get to watch D. Dowis take on powerful BYU. Although BYU has been blasted by Hawaii already this year and struggling against Oregon today. The kick by Drennan, a short one into the wind. M.J. Nelson on the return. He's racing to the left side, looking for some more blocks. Gets to the 34-yard line. Pat, what about the national championship picture?
Well, there's a number of teams still involved. Obviously, Notre Dame, if they keep moving along. Big game in November 25th against Miami. Colorado, I think the winner of this game will be playing for the national championship in the Orange Bowl. Michigan with 1 loss, still in the picture. Still in the picture. And Alabama, the only other undefeated team, that they're going to need some help. Alabama's going to need some help. Some other teams, perhaps 3 teams losing for Alabama to win it all.
Florida State's in the picture with 2 losses. No team's ever won the national championship with 2 losses, but they have come back quickly in the top 10. Fumble football by Hemingway and fallen on by Leuenberg. The center has now smothered 2 fumbles today.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Leuenberg. He is the guy, number 52, the center, who was the biggest question mark coming into this season. But he's answered all those question marks. The ball was a little bit high as it was passed to Hemingway, but then he did secure it. And there was a big hit again by Tyrone Bird, who has played exceptionally well at free safety for the Cornhuskers.
Final half minute of the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 2 after the recovery by Leuenberg. Kissick's back in at fullback. Hagan's going to keep it. Has the first down to the 48-yard line. Wrestled down by Mike Kroll. And clock stops as they move the chains.
Mike Kroll, number 88. Bottom left of the screen here, down here, I'm sorry, right in there. He is the guy who's reading the guy in front of him. Steps through the block of the back, just fights him off with awfully strong hands, and then steps back inside.
Well, they restart the clock once they move the chains. That is the end of the 3rd quarter. Colorado has won 28 straight games when leading after 3. They lead it right now by 3, 24-21. 15 minutes to go in the battle for the Big 8. We'll continue after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports coverage of today's CFA game is sponsored by Kodak Batteries. Depend on us to last longer than ever. The First Brands Corporation, makers of Prestone Advanced Formula Antifreeze. And by Wheaties. Better get your whole grain. Better eat your Wheaties.
The beauty of Colorado And the campus set right against the Rocky Mountain Range. Folsom Field is truly an on-campus stadium. Its architectural design blends right in with the Western-style buildings of rock and tile here. The stadium opened in 1924, named after the coach, Frederick Folsom, who coached here at the turn of the century. It's the 65th year of playing football on the hilltop, as it's known. But there's never been a bigger one than this one today. And it's coming down to the final quarter with Colorado leading Nebraska 24-21. Jim Nance along with Pat Hayden and John Dockery. And Colorado on 1st and 10. And Hagan will tuck it in and gets tripped up near midfield by Mike Murray.
You know, we talked earlier about this being a game of memories. Well, Mike Murray, the nose tackle, a senior, only 5'9", 240 pounds. This guy will not have a long career in professional football at all. This may be his last really big game, but these kind of memories that he is having today, he'll have the rest of his life. This game means a lot to Mike Murray.
It was a walk-on, never even offered a small college scholarship, and starts at nose for Nebraska. 2nd and 8. Flanagan cutting his way, only for a yard. As we go back to John Dockery on the sidelines. John?
Hey, Jimmy, I'm with a man who's been in a few big games for Nebraska. Bob Devaney, what does Nebraska have to do at this moment to win this game?
Well, we've got to keep up playing good defense. We've had some fine defensive plays in this ball game, and then we've got to take advantage of that win in this last quarter when we got to win and see if we can't get a couple. It'd be nice to get a couple touchdowns on the board.
Are you surprised by Colorado?
No, I knew Colorado was a very good team, and I knew we had a good team, and I'm very pleased with Jerry Godowski, the way he's come up, and I just hope that we can win.
Thanks, Coach. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Doc, another first down picked up as the bullet pass from Hagan to John Perrick moves the football to the 35-yard line of the Cornhuskers.
And that was a frozen rope from Hagan to Perrick. And I think this what makes Darian Hagan a little bit different option quarterback than most people get a chance to see. He has got a strong and accurate arm. He's had some problems with the deep throws this year, today, because of the rush. But that ball was right on the mark to Perrick.
From the 35 of Nebraska. First down. Hemingway now the fullback. Hemingway with the football, and he barrels his way for 3.
If you're a lineman and you have a 3-point game, this is what you love. You like to give the ball to the fullback. You like a physical kind of game, smash mouth football. Both teams have called it. You want to seize the opportunity. You want the big fullback to run right behind you. And if you're a defensive lineman for Nebraska, this is your moment in the sun as well. Stunt, make a big play, make something happen. Give your offense a chance to come back and win the game.
2nd down and 7. From the 32. Hagan down for a loss by Mike Kroll.
Charlie McBride, the defensive coordinator in Nebraska, says that Mike Kroll is one of the best players I have ever been around. He's got the size you like. He's 6'3", 225 pounds. He'll tip balls. He'll block kicks. He intercepts passes. He jumps over guys. And that time he stops Darian Hagan.
Kroll came to Nebraska from Sudbury, Massachusetts. Brought his high school teammate Joe Sims with him. They're both juniors. They both play a key part in this defense for Nebraska. 3rd and 11. Hagan running left and into the open. Inside of the 20. And out of bounds at the 19, a gain of 17. Pritchard gave him a big block, and then he didn't know what to do with Bill Coleman out in front.
But you know, Jim, Darian Hagan has done it today with his feet, but that time he did it with his head, because this was an audible. He saw the defense overshooting this way, and he comes right around here, the defense overreacting. But this was an audible. Defense overshifted to the right. He came right back, trying to follow the block of Bill Coleman. Coleman's not used to having that kind of speed behind him.
He may have scored had he cut it to the inside. On 1st and 10, it's Hagan again. He may get his touchdown here. No, he stopped at the 3-yard line. A gain of 17, 21 carries for 88 yards. Darian Hagan. coming into the teeth of its own student body section at this end zone. First and goal. Oh, it's Hagan hit by Pickens, Bruce Pickens. He thumped Hagan as he was cutting it toward the goal line.
Well, Bill McCartney's team in scoring position today has had great success when they've run the option out wide. That time they forced Hagan to keep the ball, but they've been most successful, particularly in the first half when Hagan pitched the ball down here to Flanagan on the corner.
10:45 left in the game. Colorado leads by 3, trying to go up by 2 scores. Second and goal. Play is whistled dead.
Boy.
Head ball. False start on the offense. Second down.
Well, you know, Jim, they're right down in that corner of the student section. And there's an awful lot of noise down there. And again, Hagan has been calling a lot of audibles. And I think they're having trouble hearing them. Because it looks like there was some miscommunication that time. When he came out, he went one way, the backs went the other.
It would have been a busted play. So now second and goal from the 7. Double tight end set, Herrick and Bowman. Hemingway, Pritchard, and Flanagan in the backfield. And again, Hagan is hit and no gain. Jeff Mills and Ray Valido.
Jeff Mills just drilled Hagan that time.
Actually a loss of a yard on that play, Pat. We're inside of 10 minutes now.
And again, the penetration here, Jim, that was the key. Good fake there by Hagan, but there's 5 white jerseys around him. And now Colorado is faced with the most important third down of their season.
Valido threw him to the line with velocity. And now from the 8. Same backfield. Pitch to Flanagan. And a loss back to the 11-yard line. Kroll comes up along with Mills and Tyrone Bird.
I tell you, Mike Kroll did a sensational job of getting upfield. Number 88, left part of the screen. Hangs back, fights through Pritchard, the block, number 9. And then as Flanagan cuts back, he almost overruns it, but he has enough arm strength to still pull Flanagan down.
Culbertson will attempt a 28-yard field goal. This could be a series Colorado regrets. First and goal from the 2, a chance to go up 2 scores. They settle for the field goal. It hooks through there. It's good. And it's 27-21. Buffaloes. Less than 9 minutes to go, but Nebraska still within a touchdown. Agonizing minutes. And Nebraska will have the wind at its back. Down 6. With, again, an Orange Bowl spot on the line here at Boulder.
Jim, we've said a couple times, it's been a day of big plays and a day of adjustments, both offensively and defensively.
Hughes and Flowers back deep for Nebraska. Into that win, the kick only comes to the 12-yard line. Richard Bell on the return. No, that is Flowers. Leotis Flowers to the 23-yard line. Again tomorrow, NFL action coming your way. We'll get it started with the NFL today. Jim Harbaugh, quarterback, against Green Bay tomorrow. Some will see the Rams. Been sluggish of late against Minnesota. Plus other regional action. The Giants out on the West Coast play Phoenix. Philadelphia won last week against Denver. Now we'll be back out there taking on San Diego.
You know, that Ram game is going to be fun to watch. Talk about the rivalries between the Chicago and Green Bay, but that Ram-Minnesota game has been a rivalry, a natural rivalry for years. I played in it. Looking forward to watching it.
You played in the NFC Championship game against the Rams.
Yeah, you had to remind me, didn't you?
Ken Clark. Tackled by Tim James, but he gets all the way to the 39-yard line, just shy of a first down.
Okay, Nebraska down by 6 points as we start this fourth quarter, and they are at 8:26 remaining in the fourth quarter. They have the wind at their back. Now, over the years, they've won lots of games in this situation by pounding people, by running the pitch play, by throwing a screen pass. And this is where their offensive linemen over the years have really taken charge.
Sent him down in less than a yard. Bostic left, Bell to the right. Now Bell in motion. And Godowski looking to go long to Bell. And McLuhan on the coverage.
I'll tell you, that was a nice recovery by McLuhan because he was beaten early by Richard Bell.
Not the best pass of the day by Godowski, but Godowski's had a good day passing. He's thrown 3 touchdowns.
Oh, wow. Is that a stretch? Is that a stretch? Rehearsing your ad-libs last night again, huh?
Hey, this guy, seriously, Pat, has accounted this year for 24 touchdowns. Godowski has rushed for 12. He's thrown for 12 touchdowns. And he's always overshadowed. Now he has a chance to drive Nebraska to victory. It's 3rd down and less than a yard. Ken Clark looking for it. He gets the 1st down and up to the 45-yard line.
This drive, Jim, may very well be for a national championship, because the winner of this game, I believe, will go on to the Orange Bowl and play for the national championship. Now, Colorado may not get the ball back if Nebraska can drive it here. They're grinding it out, 7:46 remaining in the 4th quarter. They're trying to eke out as many 1st downs as they can, still get the ball in the end zone and kick the extra point.
You kind of sense this could be a big drive here by Nebraska. Trailing by 6. With 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go in the contest. 1st and 10 from their own 45. Ken Clark. No, that's actually Nate Turner from a wing getting to the 49-yard line. Pick up a 4. Nate Turner.
Well, big old, see the right guard and right tackle there. Bill Babora and Doug Glazer come out and lead the way for Turner.
Glazer, it's high honors to be able to be claimed as the greatest tackle in the history of Nebraska football. Label put on him by Tom Osborne yesterday.
And they asked him to do everything at Nebraska, and he's able to do it. Pass block, run block, pull.
Ken Clark is out. Leotis Flowers is the tailback. 2nd down. Flowers carries. He's hit immediately by Walker and spins back to the line of scrimmage.
And Jim, again, it was the stunt that time by Arthur Walker. He goes right by Doug Glazer, right here. Watch the stunt inside. Glazer just doesn't have a chance. He thinks he's going to play head up, but that's their scheme. Stunt, get into the gaps, and cause negative plays.
3rd and 5. Nebraska faced several 3rd down situations on its last touchdown possession. Clark's back in the game, 3rd and 5. Pass caught, 1st down, Gregory. Morgan Gregory at the 41-yard line, tackled by McLuhan. Again, this is a guy, Pat, Godowski, who just seems to get overshadowed, but his numbers are tremendous. In fact, you talked about Hagan. Godowski has accounted for more touchdowns than quarterbacks Hagan, Harris, and Tony Rice this year, all Heisman candidates.
You know, I think he gets lost in the shuffle here at Nebraska, but he is having a staggering year, playing really well.
Only been intercepted twice, throwing 12 touchdowns and running for 12. 1st down, he pitches it to Clark, cutting, looking for a hole, and getting to the 35-yard line. Clark's kind of getting warmed up now, you sense, don't you, Pat?
He's one of those guys, the more you give Ken Clark the ball, the better he feels, the more comfortable he feels. He's a power back, and he doesn't need a lot of room to make a move. Lots of running backs need a big hole to make a move and fake a guy out, but not Ken Clark. He can put a move on in very close quarters.
Clark's moving in on 120 carries, 94 yards. 2nd down and 4. They go inside with Carpenter, and he picks up the 1st down for Nebraska to the 30-yard line, and inside of 5 minutes.
Just what Nebraska and Tom Osborne wanted exactly to do. They are thinking score, use as much time on this clock, the 4:55, as they can, and not give the ball back to Colorado.
Touchdown and an extra point could win it.
And that's why it's very important, critical right now for this Colorado defense to come up with a negative play.
Chris Baugh comes in as a receiver. Double tight end set on 1st and 10. Ken Clark, only a yard. Gary Howe and Canavis McGee on the tackle.
Well, this has really been amazing, this drive to me. We have seen Nebraska do a number of different things. Throw the ball in a critical situation when they had to. They've run the ball up the middle with Carpenter. They've run the ball outside with Power.
This is a very similar drive to the one we saw last week when we were at Penn State. Penn State drove it and utilized Blair Thomas almost all the way downfield before missing the game-winning field goal at the end. Now Godowski was looking to throw. He'll run it, and he's out of bounds at the 24-yard line.
You have talked about Godowski and how he gets overlooked. You watch film of Godowski and you think, he can't hurt me. But the more and more film you watch of him, the more concerned you get. Because that's a play they should have stopped him really for no gain.
Well, he's got 10 carries, 71 yards, and with that run, he sets the school rushing mark in one season by a quarterback for rushing, breaking Steve Taylor's mark.
Well, Jim, again, you have mentioned that what's on the line for this game. A Big 8 championship, perhaps, a national championship possibility, and now the biggest third down for Nebraska on 3rd and 4.
Godowski looking to pitch. No one there, and Joel Steed had a hold of him.
What a play by Joel Steed. The nose tackles had a remarkable year in a remarkable game.
Tom Osborne calls the timeout. Now Nebraska will talk it over. They'll probably go for it here, Pat, on 4th down.
And they may very well have to, but you don't think Joel Steed knows what's on the line? He knows the Big 8 championships, and he wants to be in the Orange Bowl.
There's a timeout. Nebraska will go for it.
His team hopefully drive for the winning score. 27-21, 4th down for Tom Osborne. During that timeout, the Colorado defensive coaches brought the entire team to the sideline and challenged them, telling them this was the moment they've been waiting for. This was the moment of truth, and if they were men, it was time to show it. Pat and Jim?
Only one timeout remaining for Nebraska. They've sent 4 receivers into the game. They'll line up some of them on a wing. Carpenter in the backfield. 4th and 6.
Over the years, Nebraska's had big plays out of the wingbacks.
Got one-on-one coverage with Bostic. But they go to Bell, and it's incomplete. The pass was short.
Right now, this game is not over. 3:28 remaining. Nebraska still has one timeout.
Defense must shut them down right here. Not allow Colorado to pick up a 1st down. Hagan is tripped up right after the exchange. Kent Wells.
Biggest play of the year thus far in college football, 4th and 6. It was Bell, number 21, out of the backfield, but good coverage by Bruce Young, number 7, steps right in front of him. And that allowed, didn't allow any crease for Godowski to throw the ball. And Mike Hankwitz asked his team to get the challenge, meet the challenge. They did.
2nd and 13 after the big play by Wells. Hagan keeps swarmed under at the 27-yard line, and now Colorado faces 3rd and long.
And again, Nebraska will get this ball back again. 2:37 remaining. They still have one timeout.
Now it all depends on this 3rd down play. 3rd and 9 it will be.
Now, Colorado has not had great success throwing the football. You have to give Darian Hagan, their quarterback, a chance to pick it up for you on the corner of the defense.
Nebraska will get the football back. Mike Murray ran down the line on the option and stayed with Hagan. And now the Cornhuskers use their final timeout.
A day for memories for Mike Murray, number 74, the nose tackle. We've talked a lot about him, and that is all determination.
Nebraska, trailing by 6, will get the football and one more chance. Mountainous proportions. Nebraska and Colorado playing for the Big 8 berth in the Orange Bowl. And a probable shot at Notre Dame for the national championship. 2 against 3. Colorado leading by 6, but will kick the ball away to Nebraska, a team with no timeouts left.
And Nebraska had blocked 2 punts this season already.
Come charging in, Pickens came from the outside, but Ruin got it away. And now Hughes lets it bounce around. Poor judgment. And now Nebraska will have to drive 88 yards to get to Miami.
That's a ball he has got to catch. Hughes, number 33, has got to catch that ball. And that's an incredibly big play into that wind. 62-yard punt into a very stiff wind. I'll tell you, if Colorado goes on to the Orange Bowl, and if they win a national championship, that is as big a play as they've had all year. Special teams again. Colorado's had huge plays out of their special teams. Jeff Campbell on punt returns and Ruin there on the punt.
That ball did roll 18 yards. With the wind at their backs. 1st and 10, Nebraska. Godowski setting up a screen to Carpenter, incomplete. And the Buffs read that one all the way, including Chad Brown.
That was the play they ran the first play of the game for a touchdown. But that time, Chad Brown, the inside linebacker, read it beautifully.
No timeouts remaining. But they do have 95 seconds. Chip Baugh to the left. Gregory to the right. This is the end zone where it gets especially loud.
Nebraska has thrown the ball effectively this year when it's been a surprise. It is not a surprise now.
Second down and 10. Godowski has Gregory open. Incomplete. The nickelback, Greg Thomas, came over and batted it away. But Gregory, for a fleeting second, was open.
Well, you know, virtually every player has contributed on this defensive team. But now Godowski facing 3rd and 10. The thing that goes through a quarterback's mind here is make sure my receivers get the 10 yards on the route. Don't run a route at 8 yards. Go 12 at least. And you want to get a ball to a receiver on the move.
3rd and 10. They run the football with Carpenter, and it only nets 2 yards.
Everybody will question Tom Osborne on that call, but it was a nickel defense. He thought he had a chance for a big play up the middle. The element of surprise, but again, the Colorado defense answered the question. Wow.
Clock is running, but more importantly, this is 4th down. This is the last chance for Nebraska. Godowski to Gregory, 1st down, and he's out of bounds. Boy, he had an open sideline ahead of him. But it's a Nebraska first down, and it stops the clock with 49 seconds.
Well, we have seen athletes respond to incredible pressure today. Once again, Godowski, big cushion there by McClure, number 12. He is wide open. He tries to drive on him, but then I did almost a critical error. He had the head on the wrong side, and had not Gregory stepped out of bounds, he's gone.
No timeouts again. 49 seconds remaining. 72 yards away from victory. Godowski across the middle. What a catch! Wow, Richard Bell leaping up with one hand and bringing it down.
Great players respond in big games. And Richard Bell just made one of the best catches I have ever seen under this kind of pressure, because he is well covered. And Godowski throws it off the wrong foot. The left hand goes up and catches it on one pass, one hand, then he gets drilled by Thomas.
20-yard gain. The clock had been stopped to move the chains. Now it's put back into play. Left sideline and incomplete. 2 Cornhuskers in the area. Turner and ball.
It is really fun to watch athletes like we are today, Jim, respond under these circumstances, and both teams have. Godowski's done one thing and Hagen's answered. The offensive line on one squad, the defensive line on the other.
Bill McCartney says it's the biggest game I've ever coached, and he actually looks like he's enjoying it, smiling on the sidelines. 25 seconds to go. Bell again, incomplete. It actually, had he caught it and been stopped right there in the middle of the field, Nebraska may not even got another play off anyway.
Yeah, with 19 seconds remaining, they have to throw the ball way downfield. They can't just afford to try to get it into first down. This can't be a 10-yard pattern. It has to be a deep pattern.
3rd down and 52 yards to victory. A little too high for Kratzenstein. He was open.
That route's not going to do it for you, Jim.
He was open enough where he might have been able to catch it and get out of bounds around the 40, but still, you're right.
Well,
They've got to go down now. 4th down and only 14 seconds remaining.
John Bostic has been the big play receiver for Nebraska all year.
Folks in Colorado get ready to call for reservations to Miami. Morgan Gregory. And he's tackled at the 42-yard line. They'll have to measure for a first down. They'll stop the clock. Pat, that's right at the first down yardage.
Boy, and what a big break there for Nebraska, which means they'll get one more shot. And now they can actually throw the ball into the end zone.
Officials timeout. They're going to measure. This will be close. If he's short, the game is over.
Godowski needs to have his team on the line of scrimmage, really, Jim, because they'll start the clock again.
They'll put the ball back in the play, the clock back in the play.
Yeah, so he's got to be up at the line of scrimmage.
First down, Nebraska. He's telling them, get to the line. We're going to put the clock into motion. They've got Bostic and Turner set to the left. One last play to decide the Big 8. He's past the line of scrimmage. He's past the line of scrimmage, and it's incomplete anyway.
can you tell us?
Oh, yeah, it's the biggest. It's as sweet as it gets, and I couldn't be prouder of our players and coaches. We've worked real hard to get where we are, and we want to be humble in victory, but we want to enjoy it.
Darian Hagan,
Hagan was sensational. Hagan should win the Heisman Trophy.
Special teams spectacular too, Coach.
Special teams were out of sight.
Congratulations, back to you. Okay, guys.
All right, he's touting his quarterback now for the Heisman. In Colorado, now just a mere formality away from locking up the Orange Bowl berth. All they have left is Oklahoma State and Kansas State. To make it official, they just need one win. They should have no problem with that. It took 100 years of Colorado football to get in position to play for a national championship. It took about 10 seconds for the goalpost to come down today in Boulder. They've won it for Sal. They've won it for themselves. Colorado is now 9-0 on the season. This team driven by the courage and memory of their deceased spiritual leader, Sal, who only hours before he passed away on September 23rd wrote these words to his teammates. Don't be saddened that you no longer see me in the flesh, because I will always be with you in spirit. Hold me dear to your hearts, as you know I do all of you. I love you all. Go get them and bring home the Orange Bowl. It was signed, Love, Sal.
Mr. Ian McKenzie.
I'm Angus McKenzie. Ian's moved down the road.
Today, with service to 175 countries,
Oh, you've been wanting Ian Alistair, Mackenzie.
UPS delivers to nearly 4 billion people,
Also for McKenzie.
including the extraordinary concentration of Mackenzies along the northeast coast of Scotland.
Mr. Ian Alistair McKenzie.
No trouble finding him, did you, lad?
No trouble at all.
UPS, we run the tightest ship in the shipping business.
Now Chevrolet offers cash back on even more new Chevy trucks. Up to $1,250 cash back or 6.9% financing on most new Chevy trucks. Pick up.